No problem. And welcome to day 6 of our 12 days of yoga. I can't believe it's day 6 already. I know we've had technical difficulties throughout. My hope is that today goes smooth and clear for everyone. Our Instagram live has been working fairly well. So if you're on there, welcome. If you're joining me on Zoom, the link is in the Facebook page. So if you want to jump on there, you're welcome to. Hi, Jean. Lovely to see you. We've got Linda and Jamie over here on our Zoom. We'll give everyone another moment just to get logged in and started. You may want to have a block or a prop of some sort. For today, we are working our balance. Balance is always something when I say, today we're going to work on balance. People always go, oh, my balance is so bad. And balance needs practice. We need to daily work at maintaining our strength and our stability, but most importantly, from the inside out. So if we think of balance from our center point outward, so if you joined us yesterday, that imaginary line from our navel to our tail, the center of that line is our center of gravity. So when you're standing, it's quite high. When we're seated, it's quite low. So we feel really stable. The taller we get, if you're paddling with me ever, when we're standing on an unstable surface, you're familiar with finding that balance in your legs, your lower body first, and then your upper body has more freedom. And the same rules apply when you're on solid ground. We need to find firm foundation, whether it's balancing in our hands or balancing in our feet or a combination of hands and feet, that we find that firm foundation and then we build from the earth up, or in the case of on a paddleboard or on liquid yoga, from the water up, so from that platform. We'll get started right away, coming into a seated position. So I'm going to step back here to my mat, my double water bottles. Stay hydrated, everyone. All right. Just find a comfortable seat and take a moment to travel inward. Close the eyes, turn off the external stimulus, and just welcome yourself to this 20 to 30 minute practice, which is just here as a gift to move your mind and body in a way that you might not normally in your day-to-day. Use these practices as a toolkit that you can reach into whenever you need it. So whether you're practicing live with me right now or doing this as a recording later, know that you're taking this time for you and in turn, the betterment of those around you. Gather your hands at your heart. As you press your palms together, lift from the base of your tail through the crown of your head. Sigh the first breath fully. And arrive. If there's sounds around you or outside of your space, let them drift to the backdrop. And bring your awareness in towards your breath. Set an intention today of the word stability. Now with balance, we build stability. The balancing act of our mind and our body working together through our breath. Bow your head to your hands and release your hands to your lap. As you pull your ears back over your shoulders, you're finding balance in your head and neck. Draw your chin back slightly and feel how the chest lifts up, and then our body moves in these linked places. If we move the head forward, the chest will drop back. If we pull the head back, the chest comes forward. And our mechanism that we live in, we're getting to know more readily through these practices. So let's come right up to our feet to start. We'll come into a forward folded position. And if you've been sitting for a bunch of your day, Just let your head drop. Pedal your knees left and right. This is where a block or a water bottle, something to lean into with your hands, can just help free up your hips a little bit side to side. Give your head a releasing yes nod and a no shake. And our first check-in with balance are just a simple spinal roll, so balance on 2 feet. Let your body drape your thighs fully. Let your hands brush the floor, dangle towards it. Bend the knees slightly, push down through your heels and out. And begin to roll your navel, your belly button towards your spine, and roll all the way up to standing, vertebra by vertebra, stacking. When you reach the top, take a little bit of a back bend, chin to the sky, shoulders draw back. And then exhale, chin to chest, let the arms drape forward. Notice as your arms come forward, your hips drop back. Your knees might bend a little more to find that balance in your feet. The stability all the way down through the soles. Inhale to roll up. Take your time. At the very top, a little arc open of your heart, and then a rounding back out. Last one here. Roll all the way up. Take your time. Let your head be the last thing to come up, and as you pull the ears back, feel the chest burst forward, and then find a place that's neutral at center. The arms hang, and the heads of the arm bones roll open, the palms face forward. Stretch up to the sky as you breathe in, hands to heart center as you breathe out. We'll shift the weight onto our left foot and pick up the right heel, bending the knee, and you're just on the big toe. I want you to think of the big toe as being anchored or suctioned into the floor, but you're attempting to pull your knee up towards the ceiling. So there's a connection. You'll feel a little more drive through your left outer hip. So what we want to avoid here is letting the hip come out and just lift the knee. So we're squeezing inward and upward. Start to lift the toe if that's available. If working with just the big toe on the floor is enough for you, stay there. If bringing the knee to hip height is okay, keep the ankle underneath the knee, so slightly ahead of you. And gradually from here, we're going to reach the arms straight up with the ears. We're just bringing awareness to our left heel and all 5 toes on that foot. Spread them. Spread the other 5 toes on your right foot and spread your fingertips open. Full breath in. And then release the arms, release the legs, breathe out. Press down through your right foot. As you lift the heel, think about pulling up, and so that you're not leaning back into lifting the knee forward. We're retraining these muscle memories, hands to heart. Start with the big toe, and then tapped into the floor, and like you're sipping water out of the earth, like the roots of a tree, and then drawing it all the way up. If it's available to lift the knee, lift it up. It should feel like a little work to pull up. As your eyes are steady, take your arms up. Elongate out of your waist. Now, if your eyes are sort of jetting around or looking around, choose one spot to gaze. Stay there, take a breath in, stretch up, and then release all the way down. Open the feet to hip distance, sweep the arms forward on your inhale, and bow inward on your exhale. Lift halfway. And from here, we're going to create a tabletop with our hands and our feet. So rather than on our hands and knees, I'm just going to go back a little bit with the feet so that there's some space between my hands and feet, which is about the length of the torso. The block a little bit higher, or the water bottle, or I might use one of each to give me that length, a little bit of stability. And it's the 4 points of your table you've created. All we're going to do here is shift some weight into the hands and float the right leg back behind now. As the right leg comes back behind, you're going to feel a transition of weight to the hands and also into the left foot. Now, if you feel stable here, get a little bit lighter in your chest and take your left arm forward. Maybe cactus it out with the ear if it's tight in the shoulder. Equal balance from left to right, left foot to right hand. And then release back down. Reset, have all 4 points of your table equal height, equal distance. Shift onto your right foot. Think about squeezing the navel to the spine. That center point of balance resides between the navel and the tail. Keep the hips level as you float your heel no higher than your hip. And if it's lower, that's okay too. You're working it high over time, and you can even bend your standing leg a little to give the left leg more lift. Stay here, keep breathing. Notice the quality of your breath might start to hold or grip or get short. See if you can smooth it out. Reach the right arm with the ear if it's there, or the right arm out to the side. And this is waking up our glutes, the one that we're standing on just like when we were standing upright. But with a little bit of hinge, gravity, we have to work against it. Pull the back of the head to the ceiling, take a breath, and then release the hand and the foot back to the earth. Take a full inhale and bow inward, exhale. Release the lower back, navel to spine. And then roll back up to standing. Where we reach the top, open up the chest. Take the arms up overhead, hands about shoulder distance apart, palms face each other. Shift onto your left foot, and this time take the right knee up in front, and we'll float into airplane, right leg back behind, wings spread to the space behind you, palms to the floor. Now the transition here is hands to heart, and dive your heart just a little bit lower. Maybe you find those blocks or one of them again to touch if you need. Otherwise, stay in the length of your breath. Float the arms back out to airplane if they've shifted, and then sweep all the way up, knee up in front, arms overhead, and release the foot to the floor. Full breath in, and a sighing breath out. Good, sweep up, inhale. Arms about shoulder distance apart as you exhale, anchor into your right foot, left knee comes up in front. Take a breath in. Use the breath as you exhale to send your left leg back, arms back. Find your airplane. You can stay upright here with big toe touching, or lift the leg and get more parallel to the floor in time. If the leg goes higher than the hips, then the heart can come lower, but only when it does. We don't want to turn into a Swiss Army knife. We want to keep the chest lifted. Maybe bring the fingertips to your heart or onto a block or a prop in front of you, giving you that little bit addition of stability. You only need one touch point to find stability. If you've ever been on the SkyTrain or a bus, you don't have to hold so much, but just touch something to create resistance. Arms sweep back, reach up, bring the knee up, and release. Beautiful. Bring your feet together. Shift your props out of the way, or at least out to the top of your mat. And let's get to something a little more familiar. It's Christmas and all, and this tree is inspiring me. So with our hands at our heart, bend your right knee again, pull up, stay tall in your center, open your knee, and place your foot to ankle, calf, or up to inner thigh. And you're finding your version of tree. Where we don't want to be is on the knee. So if you are coming above with that assist, push the leg to the foot as much as the foot to the leg. And set your eyes and breathe. If your standing knee is locked in position, see if you can just unlock it, like someone tickled the back of your knee joint. Take your eyes up and then take your arms up and out. Option to cactus the arms if the shoulders feel tight. Know that there will be movement at times. Just as the breeze blows outside of the tree, it also resides and moves us inward. Take a deep breath in, hands to heart. Bring your knee forward with control. Foot to the floor, bend both knees to reset. Shift to your right foot, bend your left knee, and swing it open. Now when you swing it open, watch you're not twisting your knee or your hips. Keep both hips facing forward. Foot to ankle or calf, or inner thigh. Where the palms press, use that as your touch point rather than a wall or chair. Though you can use these props if they're really challenging like if this pose is really challenging, you can of course touch something. But even just pressure of hand to hand creates a connection to your core center, to your balance. Steady the breath, take the eyes up, and take your arms up. Elongate and smooth your breath. If the foot slips from the upper position, place it lower. Bring your hands back to your heart. Bring your knee forward and your foot to the earth. Reset. Beautiful. We'll take another variation, which is bringing everything towards center. It's eagle pose, Garudasana. And we'll start with the arms. So sweep the arms overhead. Take your right arm underneath your left. And as you wrap your elbows, try to reach the upper thumb. Now, if the upper thumb's not available, then don't worry about it. And just turn the knife edges, the pinky finger edges of your hands forward, thumbs towards your face. Lift your elbows up. And if the hands eventually get close enough, you'll hook the inner thumb. Shrug your shoulders down from your ears. And then sit into a little chair position, sitting your hips back. As your hips come back, anchor into your left foot, and then again, go to that big toe and pause for a moment. Use this as a setup. Find your breath, and then lift the knee high up and over. The higher you lift that leg, the further you'll get it to wrap. And you might hook the ankle, but if that's hard on the knee, just squeeze your pinky toe to your outer shin. And then if you have a tendency to lean forward here, because we start to collapse or get really shaky, instead squeeze the elbow, squeeze the thighs, and lift your heart higher. Sit your hips lower. One more breath. Then release the arms, release the legs. Stand firm in both feet. Sweep up, inhale. Left arm under. Wrap at the elbows. Catch the upper thumb. And again, if that thumb is not accessible, don't contort to get there. Just think backs of the hands towards each other. You want a subtle angle here so it's easier to see, but sit back into your hips. If your knees drive forward or your torso falls here, come back upright and just lift onto your mounds of your left foot. Exhale fully. And then as you breathe in, lift the knee and wrap it over. Good. Squeeze the outer pinky toe. Try to keep the thighs to each other. Thigh on thigh. No lighter air between the legs. Don't over grip, finding that balance, that stability and ease and effort. One more breath. And then release both arms, both legs. From the top of your mat, inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Lift halfway. And toe heel your feet out to the outer edges of your mat. Toes out, heels in. And sitting your hips down to where you can. So that might be knee height, that's plenty. You might sit a little bit lower into Malasana, yogi squat, pressing the elbows to the inner knees, looking over your fingertips. And balance is a steadiness between 2 points. So if we shift more weight to our left, more weight to our right, somewhere in between that subtle side to side action is perfectly balanced between 2 feet, 2 hands. Now, remembering we're not symmetrical inside. So our organs, though organized, they are not equal in balance all the time. So through our day, we might find parts of our day we're in better balance than others. What we're eating, what we're consuming through our day will affect us inside. What we think in our mind creates that stability, that consistency. Bring your fingertips down, lift your hips right up to the sky, turn your feet to parallel, and just give your hips a little side to side. Now from here, toe heel the feet back together. Keep your feet together, lift your heels, and bend your knees out. So you're coming into a little froggy squat. You can place your hands flat on the floor here. And if you've never played with crow or bakasana before, just follow along with me. You don't have to go any further than hands and feet on the floor. But you'll bend your elbows straight back and let your knees land onto the backs of your triceps. What's key here is to look forward. Look forward and lift your chest. Remember, when the chest is lifted, we're not curling or dropping in. So we're not looking at our feet. We're looking over the edge of our mat. You can stay here and breathe. Lift your hips a little bit higher. Or press into the knees and maybe lift one foot. Maybe lift the other. Maybe hop from one to the other. Hence the name crow. The little crow hop. Maybe lifting both. Now, if it's not there today, don't worry too much about it. Take your time, try it on. It's going to get your heart rate coming up because we're sending our heart below our hips, which always makes our heart beat a little faster. And if this is brand new to you, just stay here and breathe. Building that resilience, the inner body strength. Now gradually you're going to come down and we'll sit our hips down, take our legs around in front. As you stretch the legs out in front, sweep the arms up, full inhale, bend your knees, try to drag your heels towards you as you exhale, and then reach either for your shins or your big toes or the outer edges of your feet. Now there's lots of ways we can play with balance, and most often we think about standing, but the hands balance is another way, but also seated balance. So from here, come back up to tall, pull the feet in, and open the knees, reach between your feet, and with 2 fingers, the peace signs, you're gonna catch your big toes. And you can hold on to your big toes here, and then walk your feet in if that's available. What you want to watch is the knees aren't just falling out. You actually want to pull them in. So remember, balance in towards center. Bring everything close to the middle, the midline, and then start to lift your right heel out in front of you. Try to get the right leg as straight as you can. Now, it might not get straight today, but you're holding on to it and lifting it up in front. Now the leg is stronger than the arm, so if it disconnects, plug it back in, bend the knee, and push your toes to your fingers as you pull your fingers against your toes. Bend the knee, release it down. Other side, kick your left heel up, up, up. See if you can get the leg, the knees straight rather than rolled open. Let's try and keep it on that railway line. Mouthful for me today. Shoulder hugs back, foot goes a little higher. You might lean back, but you're not dropping back. So think chest up, ears back will help bring your chest up. Bend your knee, bring it back down. Now we're gonna lift both heels off the floor. And now we're balancing on our tail. So the two sitting bones on our tail create this nice platform. And then we start to press our feet together up. Keep the big toes close. Keep squeezing your knees to your arms. And wherever you are, you stay. You might roll back, and that's fine. You'll roll back in. Keep pressing your toes to your fingers to your toes. Get to the length that you can maintain and breathe for 3. Good, for 2. Eyes over your toes. The power of your mind, steady. And then just as steady as you went in, bring it back down. Really good. One more like this. We're going to tip back onto the heels. Knees are outside the arms. Lift the heels. And you have the option to go straight again or take the heels away from center. So you're kicking out left and right. Some find this easier. I personally find it a little bit harder. But as you widen the feet, pull the shoulders back and draw the heart through. And again, you might find you tilt back up. Pull the ears back so the chest comes up. Breathe fully. Bend the knees as slowly as you went in. And release your feet down to the floor. Release your toes. Let your feet slide out a little bit in this butterfly. And just give your knees a little flutter. I met a woman this summer who was a journalist, but she traveled a lot. And she took a lot of training for being in strange situations. And she explained to me that when you climb outside a window of a building, really tall building, in order to keep your balance, you need to pull your ears back. And the natural idea is that we're along that building and we want to hold on to it. But if you hold on to it here, your center of gravity goes back, so you're more likely to fall back. But if you train yourself to pull your ears back, your hips come underneath you, you're actually more steady. A little side story. From here, lean your heart forward, take a full breath in, and let's just melt into this Baddha Konasana. So not trying to extend too far, but keeping the breath long and eventually letting the head go if that feels okay on your neck. And without being there to necessarily see you in your practice, it's a trust that you have within yourself. Have you gone too far? Have you gone far enough? And gradually roll all the way up. Bring your feet flat, your knees together, and just roll all the way onto your back for a moment. The most stable place we feel is neutral on our spine. As we bring the knees in, then the balance comes into the legs, and letting the legs hover above us for a breath or 3. Just letting some of that blood flow with gravity drain into our torso. As you bring the knees in towards your chest, the feet naturally come down. As the feet come down, the knees move away from you. And let your palms fall open. Option to let the knees fall in or let the legs fall apart, stretching them long. Just take a moment here, even just 1 minute, to be still. To be still and stable, fully supported by the earth. Gradually bring your knees into your chest. You can roll to one side or rock yourself front to back, hips to shoulders. You want to keep some invigorating energy for your day. Rock forward and back 3-4 times. And come back up to a tall seat. Close your eyes one last time. With your hands at your heart, bow your head inward. Honoring each step of these 12 days. If you've only just begun, honor today. All we can know and focus on is what's right here with us. We have goals and things out in the distance, but what we do now, here, is leading us down that path towards our greater vision, our greater picture. Bow your head to your heart. Take a breath. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for balance, working on your stability today. I hope to see you again tomorrow. As an insight for tomorrow, we are working breath and movement. So a little more fluid movement for tomorrow's practice. So a little bit of a slow flow, I'll call it. So we'll see you here on the mat for that. Thanks for popping by and saying hello. Always a pleasure. And watch for the recordings if you want to do this practice again.